Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for the Tech Guy is provided by CacheFly. CacheFly.com. Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is my Tech Guy podcast. This show originally aired on the Premier Networks on Sunday, September 11th, 2016. This is episode 1322. Enjoy. The Tech Guy podcast is literally brought to you by Sonic, Twit's 10-gig fiber internet service provider. Yeah, baby. Join Sonic's internet revolution as they bring fast, affordable internet, phone, and TV to homes and businesses all over California. Visit sonic.com/twit to sign up for service and receive your first month free. And by Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Rocket Mortgage brings the mortgage process into the 21st century with a fast, easy, and completely online process. Check out Rocket Mortgage today at quickenloans.com/techguy. And by Gazelle, the online marketplace for buying and selling used gadgets. Shop from a variety of certified pre-owned electronics or trade one in for cash. Give new life to a used device at gazelle.com today. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the Tech Guy. Yes, it's time once again for your worst nightmare, a geek with his own radio show. 8888 Ask Leo is the number if you want to talk to a geek, a real live geek. And, I've been trained. I've learned a second language, English. So try me. I know it's not perfect. Every once in a while I'll lapse into jargon, but try me. See if I can answer your question in English. 888-827-5536 is my phone number. That's toll-free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. Outside of that area, you can still reach me. Just use Skype or a voice-over internet product. Because it's a toll-free number in the U.S., it shouldn't cost you anything. 8888 Ask Leo. Interesting rumor. Now, this is just a rumor, I think. I think this is on the scale between absolute truth and wacky conspiracy theory. This is on the wacky conspiracies theory side, but I like it. And it'll be interesting to see if it happens. So, Samsung's recalling the Galaxy Note 7. A phone I liked a lot, I recommended. Some people are holding it against me. Oh, Leo, you recommended the exploding phone. Well, I didn't know it was going to explode. I think, if you should always take any recommendation of mine with the unsaid but absolute true, footnote. If this device explodes, then I don't recommend it anymore. But at the time, I liked this phone. I had one. I bought one. $850 bought one. So that's as all-in as you can get. Well, I'm not as all-in as I am on the iPhone, but I'll tell that story. Man, I'm all-in on that too. I'll tell that story in a little bit. Anyway, Samsung says that what was the number? I've heard two numbers. One between 1 and 32,000 and 1 in 41,000 have a battery made by a Samsung affiliate that, could explode. Certainly burst into flame, If quenched, then the explosion probably won't happen. But if you don't quench the flame, and it's hard because burning volatile chemicals within your phone, hard to, I guess if you threw it in a bucket of water, maybe not, though. Actually, that's probably the wrong thing to do, because then you're going to have exploding volatile chemicals plus boiling water. No, don't do that. I don't know. What did experts say if your phone bursts into flames? What should you do? Run? Get the heck out of there? Anyway, it's a small number. They sold 2.5 million. Only 1 in 41,000 have that bad battery. And with the and by the way, Samsung has not been clear about exactly what's going on here. Is it a short in the battery? Does it only happen when it's charging? Everybody's a little nervous. Samsung has worked with the United States Consumer Protection Safety Commission, CPSC, to issue a true full recall, which means it will be illegal, if it isn't already, to sell that phone in the U.S. They have offered, and they've said, we will exchange it. We will give you your money back. We'll give you a loaner phone till we come up with safe phones. By the way, apparently the safe phones will have a sticker with an S on them. That's how you'll know. Here's the conspiracy theory, and I find this fascinating. I read it on Reddit. So that should tell you something. Take it with a grain of salt. Anybody could say anything on Reddit. But I love the idea. According to Reddit, on September 30th, Samsung's going to flip the kill switch. Those phones will just turn off forever. They won't work ever again. So a couple of interesting points there. First of all, that Samsung or any company would actually have that capability is interesting. A kill switch in the phone. I'm not sure I believe it. I don't know if I buy it. I think that's wacky conspiracy theory. But just, in 2 weeks when your phone stops working, you can say, oh, Leo told me this would happen. I'm just warning you. Do turn it in. I did. I've read a lot of things. The Wall Street Journal said, well, these phones, you probably don't have it if it's made in China. Note that Samsung's not recalling phones in China because the Chinese government requires phones sold in China have all Chinese parts. So they're not using the Samsung affiliate batteries. They're using the good batteries they've used for years from a Chinese company. So those aren't going to explode. And when I did bring it in, and I bought it at T-Mobile. When I brought it into T-Mobile, the guy did say, oh, look, see, made in China. You're probably all right. I said, well, is it your recommendation that I continue to use this phone? He said, oh, no, I wouldn't recommend that. Nobody wants to be on the hook. You got to praise Samsung for doing the right thing. They issued the recall. When they issued the recall, they said there have been 35 incidents of phones spontaneously combusting. Look, don't even mess with it. The airlines are now saying, you can't put this phone in your checked luggage. They're making gate announcements. Qantas and Virgin have already said this. We had a visitor from Ohio yesterday who said when he flew here, I think it was on United, they made a gate announcement and said, yeah, if you have a Note 7, you cannot check it in your checked baggage. You have to carry it on, but do not turn it on, and absolutely do not charge it while you're on this plane. Well, I don't blame them. Who wants to take the chance? The timing is good because also this week, Apple announced a phone, surprisingly, right in the same ballpark as prices go. I guess you could get an iPhone 7 if you got the smallest, lowest storage unit. You could get it for $650. But $750 for the 32 gigabyte S7 7 Plus. And if you get 64 or 128 or 256 gigabytes, well, the most expensive iPhone 7 Plus is $949 plus tax. Over $1,000 for most people. Over $1,000. So I just did the right thing. I turned in my Note 7, said, I don't want your exploding phone. Even if it won't explode, I don't want to take the chance. Because I'm going on vacation. I don't want to bring that on a plane, a boat. I have to charge it on the boat. So, and it just happened. Perfect timing because the new iPhone came out. And that cost me, lots. So I don't even want to talk about it. It's painful. Nice. By the way, Apple innovating once again, taking a huge step forward, eliminating the headphone jack in the iPhone 7. We thought they would. They did. And Phil Schiller came up on stage during the event on Wednesday and said, you know what? This took courage. And I thought, wow, that's an interesting interpretation of the word. Courage. Steve Jobs had used the phrase before, courage of our convictions. That maybe makes more sense. Not like courage like in the line of fire courage, like running into the Twin Towers 15 years ago, courage to save people. That's courage. But, marketing courage. It's kind of, when you put it in that context, courage is probably not the right word. Courage of our convictions. If you are in New York, if you get the chance to go to New York, it doesn't have to be on 9/11, obviously, but go to the 9/11 Museum. Go to the memorial, I think the most beautiful memorial I've ever seen. Perfect memorial, and the footprints of the Twin Towers and the waterfall going in. And all the names of all the people, and it's beautiful. And then if you can handle it emotionally, the museum, And the reason I say that, I mean, it's very hard not to cry when you go in there. And the people, where my heart really broke is when you see the first responders who ran in to danger and do it every day, don't they? We should be so grateful to them who ran in and risked their lives, and many of them lost their lives. The NYPD and the NYFD. That's something to see. And if you get a chance to go to New York City and see that memorial and see the museum, do that, because it is a wonderful, wonderful experience. And it makes all this stuff about iPhones and Note 7s kind of pale, doesn't it? We'll go back to tech. We'll talk tech with you. Phones are open right after this. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Courage. Yeah, Dan Rather, briefly, for reasons no one understood, ended his show, his nightly news show, with the word courage. Considered, even at the time, a bizarre thing to say. But I think that was the idea, was we live in tough times, and courage.
Yesterday's gremlins haven't reappeared.
Well, haven't answered the phone yet.
Well, no, but this was happening.
It was manifesting before then?
You know, when Heather was answering the phone.
Right.
And everybody has stayed.
Our fingers are crossed. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I called it innovation in a tongue-in-cheek, although I'm willing to buy that. We had David Pogue on the new Screensavers yesterday, and he made a pretty compelling case, Apple's case, not the courage case, but the case that the headphone jack actually takes up a surprisingly large amount of real estate inside the phone. And any phone designer would love to just get rid of that chunk. And if you can do it, you can add features, and Apple did increase the size of the battery by, 14%. They were able to add haptic feedback to the home button. Not necessary, but they were able to do it. They were able to add stereo speakers. They were able to take advantage of that extra space. 2 cameras instead of 1 in the iPhone 7. So I guess I buy that there's a technical reason why you would want to remove the headphone jack. It does just so happen that it helps Apple's bottom line immensely because, of course, the Lightning jack is their patented creation. You have to license it to use it. Any headphone manufacturer that wants to make Lightning jack headphones has to go to Apple and spend money, lots of money. And, Apple just happens to own a headphone company, which, it just happens to be making Lightning headphones. And, by the way, these new special, don't use the word Bluetooth headphones. So certainly there's some profit involved. I would say if you had one word, it would be profit. But hey, who am I? I think it's really not the case. And a lot of people say, look, it's just like the floppy disk and the taking out the floppy disk or taking out the CD-ROM. It's not like that. And let's see how much courage they have when it comes to taking out the headphone jack from their computers. The computers don't have Lightning. Are they going to put Lightning in their computers? What are they going to do about that? Courage. It's the new watchword of the show. Courage. Courage. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. If I were king of the forest. Hot, hot, hot. 8888, ask Leo. That's my phone number. The website is techguylabs.com. That's the only thing you have to really remember because the phone number's there. The chat room link is there. Questions, answers, video, audio of every show, all there. Episode 1322 in a continuing quest to make technology work for its users. One user at a time. Heather Hamann is the phone ranger. She is here today helping us, and I think the phone ranger actually has phones. We'll see. Should I? Who should I start with here?
What a concept, huh?
But yesterday we had a little trouble, but it's working now. Who should I? Right?
Dorothy in San Clemente.
Okay, right. Dorothy, it's perfect. She knows about courage. Hi, Dorothy. Leo Laporte, the tech
Hi,
guy.
I'm so excited.
You are? Thank you.
Yes.
Welcome.
I've been listening to you for so long. I don't always understand everything you say, but I do get some things.
You know, it'll get easier and easier. It's like learning a foreign language. I'm trying to speak English. Trying. What can I do for you?
I'm
today?
having problems with my my computer and my camera and downloading or uploading the pictures from my camera. My camera is about 9 years old, but it's very good. And it's a Fuji.
Very nice. Yeah, they make good cameras.
I can't upload my pictures, and also on my CD drive, I'm not able to transfer things from there.
So let's start with the camera. You connect it via a USB cable, am I right?
Correct.
And you have the proper USB cable for that Fuji. It fits nicely. Because, sometimes cameras use proprietary connectors, which drives me crazy.
I just did it a couple of weeks ago.
Fits in. You don't have to shove it in. It fits in nicely.
Right.
Okay. And you connect it. And when you connect it, you're using Windows, I'm sure.
Yes, Windows. Yeah. I have Windows 10.
Yeah. And when you connect it, do you hear that little boom boom from Windows saying, I see something?
No. It goes for a little while. I can see on the camera that it's trying to download, but then all of a sudden it says communication error.
Yeah, okay. Could be a bad cable. Could be a bad connector. Here's another way to do it that actually will be faster. It's not as easy, but you can take the memory card out of the camera and use a memory card reader on your computer connected via the...
I tried to find one of those. In fact, I did buy one, but I couldn't get it to fit. And then I went and had a CD made of all the pictures that I have in there, and I couldn't transfer them from the CD.
Yeah, that's a different problem, so we're going to address that one next.
Okay.
But you're right, that's another way to do it. You can take it to a camera store or Costco or whatever, and they'll take your memory chip and put it all on a CD for you.
Yeah.
Did it used to work?
Yes, I just did it a couple of weeks ago. It was working just fine.
And then Go ahead.
What I did was I had, it's an old camera, like I said, and I uninstalled the Fuji program because I thought maybe that was it. But before that, when my computer's about a year old, before that, when I would download things or upload things, it would all come up in German. But I knew, I don't speak German.
No, but you could figure out, at least it came up.
Yeah, it came up.
Okay, so you somehow installed the German version of the Fuji software. When did this start? When you upgraded to Windows 10?
No, after.
After. So you have been able to use your camera, your transfer with Windows 10.
Correct.
Good. That's good. That's a good sign.
I was wondering if it was the USB driver that...
Well, those are, could be, but that's pretty unusual. You have a USB mouse, right? That's working.
Yeah.
You have a USB keyboard. That's working.
Well, it's wireless. It's wireless.
Wireless. Do you have a USB thumb drive or, hard drive or anything else you could test it with?
Oh, I didn't think about that. Yes, I do.
Yeah, you might just try those. Make sure so what we're going to do is with troubleshooting, you just kind of go through all the possibilities. You start with the easy ones, of course, and see if you can...
and another thing is when I connected my, what do you call it? I can't think of what the word, to transfer something to my, transfer something from my computer to my external hard drive. I couldn't do that. It won't let me do that.
Yeah, it sounds like your computer's not happy about something. Your hard drive's not full by any chance, is it?
Oh, no.
No. So, yeah, I would just have... so the Fuji software makes it easier. You shouldn't need the Fuji software. In fact, the camera should show up as just like a USB hard drive to the computer. You might have to look at the camera menu and put it in that mode. There'll be a USB menu on the camera. Make sure that it's, in the... Sometimes they call it MTP. Sometimes they call it mass storage mode. Look on the camera menu and make sure that it's being seen. There's two ways it could be seen, as a camera or as a hard drive. If it's seen as a hard drive, you should see a little icon of the camera pop up on the desktop that you can open and drag files out of it. It does do that.
And it says that it is connected.
So you can see the camera on your desktop.
Right.
And if you open it up, there's folders in there. There's a folder DCIM. That's the camera folder. The pictures
DCIM?
the pictures are in that folder. And so you could just import them from there.
Well, I mean, I do have all my pictures on my PC. That is fine. I mean, I can access those. I just can't transfer anything from the PC to, like I said, a CD.
Oh, I misunderstood. I thought you couldn't get it from the camera.
Right. I can't get it from the camera to the PC. But, I mean, I have all my old pictures that I've downloaded.
Yeah, but you're taking new pictures, right? You want those, right?
Right.
Yeah. So there's two different problems. I don't think they're related, even though they both have to do with pictures. So the first problem is getting pictures from your camera into the computer. If you can see the camera icon on your desktop and you can open that up, inside there, those are the pictures. So you can what program do you use to keep track of your photos? Do you use a program?
Well, I was using, the Find Pics, but since I uninstalled it.
Well, reinstall. You can get that from the Fuji website.
Oh, yeah, I still have it.
Yeah, reinstall that. And
still have my...
Yeah. Find Pics will say, oh, there's the camera. It'll see that folder, and it'll import the pictures. So put that Find Pics back on. Now, and the other issue you say is you put that CD in the CD-ROM, and you open up, does the CD pop up on the desktop too? Do you see it?
No.
You never see it?
Nothing happens.
You should try some other discs just to see if it's just that disc.
Okay. Well, I did take it back to the store to make sure the pictures were on there.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. We want to make sure it works on your computer. So try another disk in your CD drive. See if that works. Do you get where we're going? We're trying different stuff, different USB devices, just to see what the problem is. If it's the disk, for instance, is it the disk reader? Well, put another disk in there. See if that works. If it does, maybe it's just that disk. Sometimes they make a disk for you with old or out of alignment equipment, and you can't read it. They can read it, but you can't. So it could be that too. So we want to see if another CD will work in there. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. More of your calls coming up right after this. Hold on just a sec. All right, sorry, we had to break because of the radio.
Oh, that's it.
The radio, you know how that is, Dorothy. So, so I'm very confused about what's going on. You do see a camera when you connect the camera via the USB cable. That means that's all working, so that's good.
Yeah.
If you put the Fuji software back on there, it should be able to import those directly from the camera because it can see the camera. So I'm not too worried about that. That's just replacing that software. But the other issue is getting them from a disk. So I want you to try. Do you have any other CD-ROMs you could put in that drive?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so see if those work.
I was afraid I was good. I didn't. Well, the only other ones I have are like music.
That's a start. It's not a data disk. Ideally you do something that had some data on it just to see if you can read data.
I don't do anything like that.
Yeah, so you put the disk in and it just doesn't. Nothing happens. Nothing pops up.
Right.
There is a icon. There's something called the Windows Explorer that lets you explore those drives. And so that'll either be sometimes, usually by default, unless you've changed it, it's in that taskbar at the bottom of the screen. There's a little folder icon. And if you open that up, it'll show disks that are attached to your computer. It'll say My Documents, My Pictures.
Oh, yeah.
And then you can also see My Computer. And if you double-click My Computer, you'll see disks. If the
is that this PC?
This PC, yeah, that'll do it. And then so put that disk in and see if you see it in there in that list. It may not be popping up on the screen. You may not be getting probably the previous behavior was, oh, you've just inserted a disk. What would you like to do with this? And then you would say, oh, import the things. But if that's not popping up, because you can check a box that says, I don't want to see this anymore. Sometimes that happens by accident. It'll show up in the Windows Explorer. It'll show up as the CD drive. And if you double click it, you'll see if there's pictures in there. If there are, then all is well. Sounds like, I'm guessing what's happening is the boxes that pop up that say, would you like to import this, are not popping up. Is that right?
Yeah.
Is that what you're missing?
It doesn't say anything.
Yeah, auto run, that's called. It's actually not a safe behavior. It's turned off. So,
Do you think something could be missing? Whatever that...
it's hard for me to tell.
The wizard, like usually I get a wizard.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, so that's the auto run wizard. And it got turned off, I think, is all that happened. And that's actually a simple thing.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, you can turn that on very easily. So turn on auto run Windows 10. Let me just look it up. So if you open your settings app and then click on devices.
Oh, yeah.
There's a checkbox. Actually, there's an autoplay. I'm going to look at it here on my Windows machine. There's an autoplay thing that must have been disabled at some point. And you just re-enable that. And what autoplay will do is it'll give you choices about what to do when you insert a disk with pictures on it, when you connect your camera. You can set it up so that when you connect your camera, it automatically... FinePix used to do this, but now it's gone. Install the English language version, by the way, not the German language version.
Where is that in the devices?
I'm opening up my Windows. Let me see, and I'll tell you. I got 30 seconds before I have to come back. But look around in the settings there, and you should see autoplay. You'll have to click like the CD, or I think that's it. I have to run. I'm sorry, Dorothy. The music is here. Let me just look real quickly on mine. Settings. Devices. It's under autoplay, under devices. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888 ask. Leo, spent a little more time with Dorothy on the line, and I think what's happened is her autoplay settings got turned off. And that's a fairly easy thing to fix in Windows 10. Windows 10, I can actually walk you through it here. You press the Windows key and start typing settings. This is really a good thing to know. It's a very fast way to start programs in Windows, is you press the Windows key on your keyboard and then just start typing the first few letters of a document or a program, in this case settings, and then hit return, and settings will open up. And you'll see the settings icons, and one of them is devices. And if you click that and then you look on the left, the list, autoplay, and this is the key here. I think this is what got turned off for Dorothy. Autoplay is one of the items on the left in that list. If you click it, you'll see where you can turn autoplay on, and you can choose defaults. So the default, for instance, when you insert a removable drive, also known as a CD-ROM, you can choose what's going on there. And I would set that to ask me every time. That's the wizard that you used to see probably. Similarly, you have a choice for memory card, ask me every time. You can choose something else. You can see what those choices are. But ask me every time will then give you a choice. Every single time you connect your camera or you put a CD in, it'll say, all right, I see a CD. What do you want me to do with it? And I think that's what's happened, is that stopped popping up for Dorothy. I turned that off. You should remember something about autoplay. There's a potential risk here. If a bad guy wants to mess with you, and let's say you're walking down the street and you see a beautiful USB key lying on the ground there, and you go, wow, a free USB key. That's awesome. You pick it up and you put it in your computer. Now, if you have autoplay turned on, it might automatically run software on that USB key, and it could be somebody has punked you and put some malware on there. Same thing with a CD. So generally, we don't want autoplay to automatically run anything that you stick into your computer. And a computer at work, that will be disabled. In fact, some computers at work, they'll have poured epoxy into the USB slot. So you can't do that. That's how paranoid they are about all of that. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number. Larry is in Petaluma, just down the road a piece. Hi, Larry.
Hey, Leo. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing okay. Thank you for taking my call, and congratulations on your new studio.
Thank you. Looks exactly like the old studio. The miracle, of broadcasting.
Yeah, few improvements.
A few. Minor.
Speaking of courage, I had the courage to go out and then buy a new Windows machine.
Courage.
With Windows 10.
That is courageous. After listening to Dorothy, you still want a Windows computer, huh?
Yeah, well, I've Dorothy and a number of other people before her. Anyway,
but I should just say this: of course, get a Windows computer. Nothing wrong with it, especially if you're a gamer. There's lots of reasons why you need it. But you can see the complexity that's built into any general-purpose operating systems makes things like what we just heard happen. Well, there's a setting and it's buried in here, and you got to do this, and that's necessary because a general-purpose operating system has to handle all sorts of situations. But it's also kind of unnecessary if all you want to do is surf the net and read email.
Yeah. Well, I'm relatively tech savvy and listened to you for a number of years, but the issue I'm having is on the desktop icons on the desktop screen. I've tried to arrange those in a manner that's sensible to me. And
you are an old timer. I always know somebody's been using Windows a long time when they have a very elaborate desktop.
That's right. I've set it up to look like Windows 7. I'm familiar with.
Okay.
And anyway, so every time I turn the machine off or back on again, Windows rearranges them in some order that makes absolutely no sense. They're not.
Yes, because it knows better than you.
So my question is there a way I can get it to freeze what I've arranged in my arrangement so it doesn't change?
Yeah, absolutely. There are a number of programs like Desktop OK that will do this. One thing you might check is your desktop settings, because you can set it up in the desktop settings to automatically arrange icons according to a grid, alphabetically, by date, things like that. There are people. So everybody, it's a personal computer. This is one of the beauties of a personal computer is it's kind of infinitely configurable. So there's some people who say anytime I put an icon on the desktop, I want to be arranged in a tight grid in alphabetical order, or whatever. And so Windows will do that, and you can have that set. The other thing is if resolution changes, of course, the screen gets rearranged to accommodate the resolution, and often people will find, they play a game, for instance, and the resolution changes to accommodate that game. They come back to their desktop. The icons are all different because the resolution was changed. You'll also find that the icons can move around for a variety of reasons. Because to be frank, I don't think, despite the fact that you can arrange your icons, and I've seen people, by the way, draw pictures with icons in their desktop. That's when you really know you're working with an old timer or somebody with a lot of times on their hands. And they get very upset when these are rearranged. I don't think it was ever intended really that you use the desktop that way. But so many people do that there are a number of programs that will basically take your Windows and fix it, rearrange it. Look at Desktop OK. It's free. But if you search for, restore desktop icon Windows 10, you'll see dozens of programs that do this. There's a great company that makes Windows add-ons called StarDock that has a lot of add-ons for people like this. So this is obviously something people want and have solved in many ways. Somebody in the chat room, Patterson's saying, silly sots iconoid. And I just like saying that. It's SILLYSOT.com. And Iconoid does the same thing. These have been around for so long because what you're doing is very common. People want their, but Microsoft has never acknowledged this, right? So if you right-click on your desktop and you select the personalize item from the pop-up menu there, you'll see a whole bunch of personalization settings, including things about how the desktop will be arranged and so forth. So that's another thing to look at. But I think the best thing to do is just run a little utility that memorizes your settings and puts them back. Because if you play a game or whatever, they're going to rearrange. If the resolution changes, they're going to rearrange.
Yeah, okay. I'll try one of those. That's
Yeah.
I didn't know those existed. Thank you.
You're welcome. Hey, thanks for the call. I appreciate it. I just feel like most people probably, and by the way, this is prophecy that's starting to come true, should probably just get a Chromebook and not worry about all that stuff. But you know what? We're creatures of habit. And if you've been using Windows since Windows 98 and you just happen to like the arranging icons on the desktop, well, you can't do that in a Chromebook. And it might be a deal breaker for you. Just understand that lots of other stuff goes along with that. Somebody ought to do a movie. This is a good Pixar movie. What your desktop icons do when you're not around, I think they're up to no good. Jay in Providence. Is it North Carolina, Rhode Island? I don't know. Hi, Jay.
Hey, Leo, it is North Carolina.
We've talked before, I think, yes?
We have.
And I think I always ask you this stupid question, so I apologize. I will remember now.
I get it all the time, and it doesn't faze me.
Which Providence?
And there's 4 in North Carolina, to simplify matters.
Oh, my gosh. Well, there we go. Hey, look, I have to take a break. You want to hang on for just a moment?
Sure.
I'm sorry you've been hanging on already, but I know we want to talk about El Capitan, the captain. And we will do that in just a moment. Sierra's coming soon, by the way. And for many of us, iOS 10, the new iOS will be coming out this week. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. You probably heard me say we have 10 gigabit symmetric internet access here in the studio. Awesome! And we get it from a local provider that's one of the best internet, consistently ranked one of the best internet service providers in the world by the Electronic Frontier Foundation, by everybody. The Tech Guy Show is literally brought to you today by Sonic Internet, Phone, and TV. You should probably watch my interview on triangulation with its founder and an old friend, Dane Jasper. I'm just thrilled that we can be using their service. The internet infrastructure in our country needs fixing. Too many people paying too much for unsatisfactory internet via the cable, via DSL. Sonic delivers fast, affordable internet, phone, and TV to homes and businesses. Now, it's a limited area, so I feel a little guilty because I'm going to tell you how great they are. Most cases, people are going to say, well, I can't get them. But most of California can. They are all about internet freedom, never any bandwidth caps. They fight government intervention and spying at every turn. They deliver residential and business fiber to the premise networks with gigabit connectivity in San Francisco, the North Bay area up here, and the East Bay area. We are so lucky to have them. Internet service includes 15 email accounts, a gigabyte of storage, personal web hosting with a new domain, and fax line service. You're starting to listen to this and thinking, this is how good it could be. And are you ready? $40 a month. Gigabit download speeds, $40 a month, including 15 email accounts, storage, gigabyte of storage, personal web hosting, fax line service, and you get a home phone connection with unlimited local and long-distance calling, and you can keep your number so you don't lose your phone number. They'll port it over from your existing carrier, and the most important thing to me is they stand up for privacy. They've got friendly local customer support. They never cap bandwidth, and at $40, I mean, this is how it ought to be. Sonic's customer advocacy paves the way for a better state of internet across the U.S. They're showing others how it can be. And if you are in a Sonic area and you're not using Sonic, get with the program. Join the internet revolution. Sonic, sonic.com/twit. Of course, we got an offer for you. You're going to get your first month of Sonic internet and phone service free. And if you want TV too, they'll bundle dish and you'll save $120 on your Sonic bill. Visit sonic.com/twit. Gigabit internet, $40 a month. We pay a little more for that for 10 gigabit. But I'll tell you what, it's magical. Sonic. sonic.com/twit. We thank them so much for their support of everything we do. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888. Ask Leo. Tom, Bozeman, Montana. Oh, whoops. I was supposed to take... Did I hang up on him? Are you still there, Jay? Oh, rats, Jay. I forgot. Well, I'll do Tom. And Jay, call back. Pardon me. Sorry. Tom in Bozeman, Montana. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Yeah, Leo, I'd like to echo your salute to the first responders today.
Absolutely. Brave people. And they continue to every day. They do it every day.
Anyway, two questions concerning two different laptops. Both originally were Windows 7, both upgraded to Windows 10.
Okay.
I have a Lenovo G560. When I did the upgrade, my life on the battery has decreased by about 33%.
Oi.
Used to get 3 hours, now I'm barely getting 2.
That's too bad.
Well, yes, it is.
That's a shame. I'm sorry to hear that. So I would go to Lenovo and see if they've got updated drivers of some kind to help that. It's not it's not unusual. You get a big update, things like that happen. But Lenovo's the only people can fix that are Lenovo. My guess is when you installed Windows 10, more generic drivers were installed than the drivers used for that Lenovo used. It could be there's also remember there's also how recent is the computer?
I'm going to say maybe 18 months.
Is it a Skylake processor? Do you know?
Could not tell you.
What generation Intel? So power management with Skylake was notoriously difficult. Microsoft's own hardware, the Surface Pro 4 and the Surface Book, which I have in front of me right now, for 8 months, had massive problems with power management. Wouldn't sleep when you closed the lid, would turn themselves on, and you'd turn it on, the battery would be dead. And Microsoft's only excuse was, well, it's a tough computer science problem. They finally did fix it. It's my guess that this similar kind of work has to be done by Lenovo with Windows 10. So check the manufacturer is always the answer in this case.
Okay, the other issue is with the Dell 15-inch, and I do not have the model number for that machine because I'm not around it.
Yep.
But anyway, what we do with this is we drive a couple of TVs as external monitors. And what has happened twice to us so far is the laptop monitor has gone blank. The external monitors are still functioning as properly, but you can't get any control of the laptop monitor at that point.
Your mouse and keyboard work on the external, not the laptop. Is that right?
Yes. Mouse, everything works, but you do not see anything on the laptop monitor.
Yeah.
And, doing the Windows function keys, that does nothing.
So look in your display settings, make sure that, what do you want to mirror, right? You want to have whatever was on the laptop screen show on the big screen. Is that right?
Actually, no, we're not mirroring.
You want to extend.
Yep.
Okay. So make sure, and by the way, the laptop screen works just fine when you don't have an external monitor, right?
No, once this happens, you pull out the external monitors, there is no internal monitor.
Even rebooting doesn't return it.
Correct.
So now it's broken, in other words.
Well, you need to plug in an external monitor in order to get it back running.
Okay. So it could be physical damage to the Dell as well. It's a laptop, right? 15-inch laptop.
Laptop, but it functioned properly under Windows 7.
And this just happened with Windows 10.
Mm-hmm.
Try Windows key P. Windows key P.
Okay.
That is not the function key, but the magic key in Windows 10 to open the project sidebar, and you'll see it on the right when you do that. And that will give you some options when you do Windows key P. That'll give you some options for how the external screen is handled.
Okay.
And one of the options, and I suspect this is what's selected, is second screen only. So that would actually turn off your laptop.
Well, yes, it would.
Yep. So I would try that and see if that's a nice Windows 10 feature.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, Windows 10, I have to say, for all of its benefits, and there are many, also caused a lot of problems. But I guess any new operating system, anytime you go, if you went from Vista to 7 or XP to Vista or 7 to 8, there are always these kind of hiccups along the way. And some of it relies on the manufacturer of the hardware, as in the case of Lenovo, to fix it. Sometimes it's just that Microsoft decided to do things differently, and what you used to be able to do doesn't work anymore. I noticed on this Surface Book, which was designed for Windows 10, there isn't a function key for switching, between extended, mirrored, and so forth. You have to do that Windows P thing, the project key toolbar. Not obvious. Not obvious. I hope that helps you. Jay, I'm so sorry. My apologies. I'm glad you got back in.
Hey, I guess the phone ranger is encountering a phone phantom today.
No, that was me. It was just me.
Oh.
I can't blame anybody on that one. I just pushed the wrong button. But I'm glad you got back. What can I do for you?
Okay, on El Capi 10, I noticed the other day that I have something called Proxies, which I gather is just some setting options. It looks a little over my head, which
unless you know you're using a proxy server, ignore it.
Well, the thing about it is that somehow Bypass has a domain entered, and I don't remember entering it. So that's the main thing to worry. Which worries me.
In other words, you've got a proxy setting that you didn't set.
Right.
Do you have sometimes security software does this?
I have none.
None. Did you install at any time a VPN or some way of anonymously getting on the internet?
I have, but I don't remember it changing anything. Now, I do think that it popped up about the same time I changed ISPs.
Well, you don't. Okay, unless so, a proxy is a way for you to use somebody else's computer to get on the internet, in effect, or to get on a network, in effect. Normally, you don't use a proxy. But the reason they have these settings, and every browser has them, every operating system has it, is at work, often you have you go through a proxy. But VPNs sometimes use proxies. It says you're going to bypass?
Yes, it just gives one domain name, or so it appears. There's a little bit of strange stuff before the numbers.
I think I would first, really kind of make sure you didn't install it when you installed a VPN, for instance, or your ISP didn't install it. But here's the best way to try it. Turn it off and see if everything works. If it does, then you don't need it. The question is, you're going to have to figure out why it got there in the first place. But it is not unusual for third-party security software, VPN software, to install those kinds of proxies. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Could also be malware. Could be. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Time to talk computers and the internet, the home theater, digital photography, all that jazz. 8888 Ask Leo, that's the phone number. We'll go back to the phones right away. And David in Vegas. Hi, David. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
What's up, Leo?
Hey, how you doing?
Oh, they're ready to kick me out of here. It's checkout time.
It's checkout time. I hate it when that happens. Did you have a good visit to Vegas?
I did. It was boys weekend, so it was a blast.
Fun.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome.
So this morning I look at my phone to try to look at pictures that I took the past couple of days, and I don't see them. And then I look at my storage, and it doesn't see my SD card. Open up my phone, SD card is gone. What kind of trouble am I in for?
So you don't even see an SD card, or you open it and there's nothing on it?
No, it's gone. I opened it up. It's physically gone. It fell out.
You lost it?
Batteries. Yeah, I was swapping batteries, over the weekend, and it physically fell out.
Well, yeah. No, so you're wondering, like, if the camera has some memory in it or something?
No, like because I know I store apps on the SD card, and I'm curious if 1Password stores any information on the
no,
SD
you're
card.
safe. If that's what you're worried about, you're safe. That's encrypted, that blob. Even if that's on there, it's encrypted in a way nobody could read it.
Okay, how about just like apps or anything like that?
What did you? So mostly it's media. So any pictures you took, if they're being saved to the SD card, those will be on there in the clear. So will music. If you moved an app over there, yes, the app data is on that card, but it depends on the app. This sounds like a scene out of Hangover 3. So you're telling me you took a lot of pictures on this boys' weekend.
Yeah.
And then you lost the SD card. Well, this is a case where what happens in Vegas really does stay in Vegas. The only problem is if somebody finds that. Now, it was the little tiny SD card, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I don't think, first of all, it's going to be hard for somebody to find that. Nobody's going to notice that. Second, for them to be smart enough to use it in a way that could be damaging to you. But are there let's put it this way, are there compromising pictures on this SD card?
No.
No, honey, no, of course not. No, absolutely not. That would be the only thing I'd worry about. Your apps, so let's say you're using Snapchat, for instance. Sometimes there is compromising stuff in Snapchat. Then, and this was actually an issue. A security researcher uncovered, Snapchat deletes, after, a period of time, it deletes whatever you do in Snapchat. It's one of the reasons people like to use it for private communications. Unfortunately, the cache sometimes maintains some of that data on your phone. If Snapchat, for instance, had been moved to the SD card, it is possible that the SD card could have Snapchat cache on it. So, but, I mean, come on. It's not like the hacker convention's going on this weekend. Somebody would have to find it. It's tiny. It's the size of your pinky nail. So they'd have to spot it, and then they'd have to know what to do with it. And it's unlikely that that's going to happen. I think you're safe.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Leo.
Any pictures of you and roosters or anything, you're fine. The pictures are the most dangerous thing, because if somebody does find that card, that's the one thing that almost anybody could get. They just put the card in any card, a card reader that can read a micro SD card, or put it in their own phone, open up the gallery, and there they are. They're all there. So I hope you didn't. I'm just saying, I hope you didn't take any compromising pictures. What happens in Vegas, etc. Didn't they? I think they. So Vegas went through a very bad period where they decided they wanted to be a family-friendly city, right? And that didn't work. And so they went back to being Sin City. Let's face it, party all the time. That's when they launched the "What Happens in Vegas Stays in Vegas." But then they had an issue because of Instagram and Snapchat and Twitter and camera phones. There's documentation like crazy. And so now when you go into Vegas, I'm not kidding you, at the airport, McCarran International Airport, they have big billboards up saying, just remember, don't Instagram what's... They're reminding people that if you really want privacy, you probably shouldn't take pictures of it. I guess that's advice we should all listen to. Chap in Durango, Colorado. Hi, Chap. Welcome. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. You there?
Hello.
Hey.
I am. Thanks so much for taking my call. I enjoy your radio station twice a week.
That's good.
Here in the Four Corners area.
Nice.
And I have a question about an old Dell computer. It's a laptop, which runs XP. And it does have USB ports, but I haven't been able to use them to output. That is to say, to transfer stuff onto a thumb drive. Now, I did go online and looked at a couple of approaches, but neither of the two worked.
So, when you put in the thumb drive, does it at least see it? Does it know it's there?
As a storage device?
Yeah, or just does it pop up on the screen?
I don't think it does.
See, what I'm trying to figure out is if the USB ports are screwed up on the laptop or what. So if you can put a thumb drive, and I would say try several of them. These things die, by the way. I think people assume that flash memory lives forever. In fact, they fail more oftenly than you'd think. More oftenly?
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I would have a couple of different ones. And try all the ports. I presume there's more than one port on the laptop?
There are two.
Yeah. So try both of them. And what you want is for it to show up. And remember, I was talking earlier with Dorothy, and if it doesn't pop up on the screen or show up on the desktop, then open Windows Explorer and look in My Computer and see if you can see that drive as a drive. That's
in My Computer.
Yeah. So that's so the Windows Explorer icon usually is, as I told her, in the taskbar at the bottom. It's a yellow manila folder held by a blue shelf holder. It's a terrible icon, but that's what it is. And if you open this PC, it'll show you all the drives connected. Now, if it's just if all you see is Windows C, the C drive, then your computer is in fact not seeing USB keys. And I would leave that window open and try a couple of different USB keys with both ports. If nothing ever shows up, yeah, you're right. You got a problem. Now the next question is, are my USB ports working? And so try plugging in a USB mouse or some other USB device just to see.
I do have one.
Yeah, because a port can be shorted out. It's possible. I was talking about finding a USB key on the sidewalk. Do not ever put it in your computer because it could actually short your hardware out. So it could be that those ports are actually broken, but it's not likely.
I don't know that they. I don't know that they are, but just because of, like when I Googled it for USB storage, Windows XP, there were a number of offerings giving a bunch of steps.
Yeah. Don't
to try to
just
to
ignore
make it
those. That's noise. That's noise. So the
Hmm.
the first thing to figure out is my physical port not working? And I just described that process. If the drive will come up, that's when you use those tools they're talking about to restore data on a damaged drive. But first, you got to get the drive to come up. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. What do you think? What do y'all think about losing the headphone jack on the iPhone? Apple, I think, made a very, coherent argument for it. You can read BuzzFeed, John Pachkowski's article. Apple gave him the technical explanation. Their explanation on stage was totally inadequate. Courage! But really, it saves a lot of space, a significant amount of space internally on the phone. I've talked to David Pogue of Yahoo Tech. He said, every phone manufacturer would like to get rid of the headphone jack because it takes up so much space. But, of course, every phone manufacturer would like to get rid of anything that takes up space, but there are certain things that you need on a smartphone, especially if your smartphone is a media player or you like to make phone calls. Anybody who's used Bluetooth for any length of time probably gets pretty fed up with it. Even with phone calls, I'll use a wired headset. That's still an option on the iPhone, but you have to use either Lightning connected headphones or use the $9 adapter. They do provide one in the box for the new headphone, the new smartphone, the iPhone 7. I'm very torn on it. On the one hand, they were able to do more with the iPhone 7 because they had extra real estate inside. That's their argument. My counter argument to that is, yeah, but look what Samsung does. Their Note 7, admittedly the exploding phone, but that's separate. But their Note 7 packs a bigger screen and a pen and a headphone jack into a smaller package than the iPhone 7 Plus. Significantly smaller. And it's a better screen. They don't have stereo speakers. Apple has stereo speakers now because they say we have more room. They don't have a silly buzzer on the home button. I haven't used the new iPhone yet. I'll get it on Friday, and I'll be very curious to see if that's an improvement or not. In general, you'd like to take moving parts out of these things. So having a physical home button, which Samsung does and Apple has done up to now, it'd be good to get rid of that. I don't know. Is that a better use of that space? A buzzer, a haptic feedback engine on the home button than a headphone jack? I have a lot of headphones, some very expensive headphones that use a physical jack. I guess the answer is to spend $90 and buy 10 headphone adapters and put them all on all your headphones, headphone to lightning adapters, and then that way your headphones, will work with an iPhone. But you still need headphones if you want to use the analog ports on Apple's laptops. They don't have lightning ports. And it does feel all about like a ploy to get you to buy Bluetooth headphones, which Apple, oh, by the way, makes. They bought Beats. Beats, of course, has both lightning cable headphones and Bluetooth headphones using Apple's new W1 chip, which they say is better, better Bluetooth. And Apple's going to sell a $160 wireless earpiece. They call it the AirPod, which really looks dopey. Because not only is it in your ear, but then there's this thing hanging off of it that's the microphone. And they didn't put just the microphone on one side. They both got microphones. So it looks like you got icicles dripping out of your ear or something. It's. Now, I've also read some interesting articles saying, this is actually the most important announcement Apple made, these AirPods. And I'm actually kind of buying into this. The next step in wearables is not a wristwatch. It's not glasses like Google did. It's earables. Because, and I've mentioned this before, you've heard me mention it on the show, it's possible with something in your ear to monitor not just steps, but blood pressure, heart rate, all sorts of stuff, oxygen levels, because of the thin membrane in your ear between the blood barrier and your ear hole there. So, and an earphone is unobtrusive. Remember the movie Her? Guy had Scarlett Johansson in his ear, and that was pretty cool. Kind of fell in love with her, right? Siri will be in your ear now. You just tap your little AirPods twice, and Siri will listen for what you want. I think this is possibly a very interesting move into a next generation smart device that is an earable in your ear. So maybe that's what Apple's up to. Anyway, I'd love to know what you think. 8888 Ask Leo. The website is techguylabs.com. We can discuss things there too. Mark in Camarillo, California is next. Hi, Mark.
How you doing, Leo? Thanks for taking my call.
Camarillo, I should say. Yeah.
Camarillo, that's right, yeah. It gets mispronounced all the time.
I blame Frank Zappa because he did a song called Camarillo Brillo, and I was a big fan, and I've said Camarillo ever since, so I will say Camarillo.
Yeah, I know the song well. Yeah. Yep. Hey, really what I should do is thank you. For 2 years, I listened to you as I struggled through, Windows PC problems, and then I had a Mac laptop, and just software problem after software problem. The thing is, I'm not a gamer. I'm a writer, and I'm a teacher. I'm actually a teacher and then a writer. I'm a journalist, and I finally gave it all up. I went straight into Google. I got an Android phone. I got a Chromebook.
Good.
Yep.
Yeah.
And here's where the rubber met the road. I was out with my family. An editor contacted me. I had a piece that was on deadline. I had turned it in. She needed some quick edits made. I pulled it up on Google Docs on my phone.
There you go.
And corrected it right there, sent it right back to her, and it was done. I got an Amazon Echo, the Google Chromebook, the phone, and a Kindle, and I got them all, I think, less than $600 total.
There you go.
The MacBook was $1,000,
yep.
And I've never been happier.
Thank you, because I've been saying this. I've been beating this drum. Some people need a desktop, a general-purpose operating system. I understand that. I'm not saying everybody can get by with a Chromebook, but most people could. Most of what you do, and there's much less complexity, much more secure, much less cost. And by the way, Chromebooks are about to get much better because the Android store is going to be on the Chromebook starting in a month or two. And the minute that happens, you've got a million new applications you can run on your Chromebook. I think it's going to be a revolution. Already, by the way, the Chromebook is outselling the Mac. Did you know that? The Chromebook outsold the Mac.
Oh, no, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
No.
So
That's good news.
Yeah.
Security is the best thing. It's a very, very secure feeling having all this stuff work this way.
Are you seeing more Chromebooks in school?
Yeah, in fact, I bought one for my daughter.
Yep.
Our school district, unfortunately, is still stuck with Office 365, and no offense to Microsoft, it's cumbersome to me. We use it on my computer at school, and I'm not happy with it.
A lot of schools feel like, oh no, we're training kids for their future. They need to know how to use Office. And I would submit that in 8 years, when those kids enter the workforce, it may not be Office.
Yeah.
It's foolish to teach kids any particular technology. You need to teach them general technology. You need to teach them critical thinking. There's kind of universal skills that will apply no matter what the future holds. But we can't predict what technologies kids are going to be using. I'd be very surprised if kids are using Microsoft Word in 10 years.
Yeah, I agree with you. Thanks for having me on.
I'm glad you called.
I hope it helps people.
Yeah, I'm really glad you called, Mark. I agree with you 100%. I've been beating that drum, and all you have to do is listen to the calls we get on this show. People struggling with their computers. Just struggling. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. It's needless. That was nice. Thank you for that call. You said everything, so I didn't have to say it. And look, I'm a PC guy. I'm a computer guy, right? I came from that world where you have general, Macs and Windows and Linux, and I love having a desktop and command line, but I don't mind troubleshooting every day some problem or other. I don't mind that. That's part, that's what I do. That's part of being a geek. But most people shouldn't have to do that. Hey, let me talk briefly about our sponsor for the show, Rocket Mortgage. You're a 21st century kind of person. You live in the present. Why are you borrowing for a new home or refi with technology from the 19th century? Bringing in boxes of documents, going to a loan broker, has to go through pages of documents to find you a good rate. Forget it. Quicken Loans, they're the best. And Rocket Mortgage brings that mortgage process into the 21st century. You could do it all online. I want you to go to Quicken Loans. Let me type it in right here so I can show you. QuickenLoans.com/techguy. QuickenLoans.com/techguy. And take a look. Rocket Mortgage. It's fast. You could do it all from your iPad or your phone if you want. And you'll get approved in minutes for a customized solution that's perfect for you. Check it out. Rocket Mortgage is at QuickenLoans.com/techguy. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states. NMLS-ConsumerAccess.org, number 3030. Just like a rocket. It's fast. It's powerful. But unlike a rocket, it's completely online. Watch this process. It's so simple, so easy. Rocket Mortgage at Quicken Loans. QuickenLoans.com/techguy. It's time to talk photography with Chris Marquardt, our photo guy. Chris joins us every week. He's a professional photographer. Really stunning stuff. Has written some good books and great books, including his latest, The Film Book, all about using film cameras to take amazing pictures. But he joins us every week to talk about digital photography. You'll find more of his work at discoverthetopfloor.com. Hi, Chris.
Hi, Leo.
Did I get the name of that? It's The Film Book. Is that right?
It's the film. It's the Film Photography Handbook.
I left out a couple of syllables. The Film Photography Handbook. And where can I get that?
Anywhere you like. There's
it's on my bookshelf, so I'll just reach over.
It's on many bookshelves by now. It is in bookstores. You get it on your favorite online bookseller, and it's a proper book from a proper
beautiful
publisher.
No, it's gorgeous with lots of images and lots of how-to, and I of course am pouring through it because at yours kind of a lot of people pushing me towards trying film photography, and I got a very nice Leica M3 antique. I got two cameras that are as old as I am, which is old, but they were well maintained by their original owners, and somebody reconditioned them with love. And I got it from that friend of yours in Austria, the guy who sells classic cameras. Was it LeicaStore.com, I think?
It's a Leica store, yeah.
Yeah, leicastore.com. I got an M3. And the thing is, nobody wants film cameras, so they're cheap. And I got a Rolleiflex. And it's just fun to have. They're beautifully made.
I just recently got my old Rolleiflex out and put a roll of film in it and used it.
Because they don't, you're looking down and they don't correct
anything, you know?
Yeah,
it takes a bit of skill, but you get skill by practicing.
I got some great images.
Use it, yeah.
I'm very happy with it. Anyway, we continue with our photographic superpowers series. What's our superpower this week?
The superpower, well, last week we talked about this, taking pictures of the sun. Now, why not talk about pictures of the moon? The moon, another body in the sky that is interesting to photograph.
But it's similar to the sunset problem because you look so good in real life, and it never looks that good in a picture unless you really know what you're doing.
And it looks so big when it's straight above the horizon, but that's just an optical illusion. And you take a picture of it, and you end up with this small, tiny
the camera's
white dot.
not fooled.
It has its difficulties, but there are a few tricks that you can use to make moon pictures work. Well, first thing is, again, as with the sunset picture, the moon just on its own, nice, but we've all seen pictures that have just the moon on it. They're kind of boring, you know. Now everyone knows what the moon looks like. It's always nice if you have some environment in it, if you have some foreground in it, something that the moon is above, maybe some trees or some houses or things that give it a bit of a frame and a bit of a good place in the picture to sit in. That's the first thing. And the second, as I said, it's very, very small. So if you want a decent-sized moon, you will again need longer focal lengths, a telephoto lens that can help you there. And I know people who want the moon full size in the picture, want the entire picture to be covered by the moon, will use 1,000 millimeters or longer. If you don't have that, well, use a long one at least, and the longest one that you have. Maybe even cheat a bit and make a composite of two pictures, like the moon and the foreground. And it's usually fairly easy with the right software to put those together. Some photographers do that, and I think as long as it's art and not journalism, that's fine to do.
Yeah, the only thing makes me mad about that is I look at it and I don't know it was a composite. And I think, how did they do that? I got to try to do that. So you should be aware, a lot of times when you see a moon picture, they're compositing it. Yeah.
It's true. So there's a rule of thumb to get the exposure right, because it's really hard to see on your display. First of all, the display is usually too bright. Like you turn your camera on at night and the display is still as bright as you had it when you were shooting in the sun. So you will have a lot of light coming at you, and that kind of is confusing. So what I do is I turn down the camera's display's brightness all the way down when I shoot at night, just to make sure it doesn't blind me. And then there's a rule of thumb that you can use in order to get the exposure right, and it's called the Looney 11. Now, what it means is you set your camera up on full manual mode. So you get to call the shots when it comes to ISO and to aperture and to the shutter speed. And then you set it up the following way. You choose an ISO, let's say ISO 400, and you shoot at a 400th of a second. So you set the speed, the shutter speed at the same number that you set the ISO to, and then you set the camera to f11. That's the aperture, and that's a very good starting point to take pictures of the moon.
Okay, wait a minute. You set the speed of the camera
to the ISO.
So if it's ISO 400, you set it to 1/400th.
Exactly.
If it's ISO 100, you'd set it to 1/100th. Okay. Yep. And then f11. That seems too easy.
And that's a good starting point. And by the way, what that means is that you can actually take a shot of the moon handheld without a tripod if you want to.
Oh.
Now let's assume you have a 1,000 millimeter lens on your camera, and like a very long lens. It's a very long lens. 1,000 meters is like a telescope.
Yeah.
And you set your camera to ISO 1000, which every modern camera can do, and 1,000th of a second. F11, you nail the shot.
Yeah, you can handhold a thousandth of a second, no problem.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the moon is much brighter than we think, and you can handhold shots of the moon. And I've done it plenty of times.
And what you're looking for is enough detail so that you can see the craters. It's just not like a big white light in the sky.
If you and by the way, you see the craters best if the moon is not lit, if the moon is not at full moon. If the moon is lit from the side, that's
better.
when the details, right at
course.
the edge where the dark goes into the bright, that's where you will see all these little craters in a lot of detail. And that's really fun to play with. And that's lots of fun to zoom into and look around. And a bit of post-processing on moon pictures can also give you a bit of an advantage. So if you crank up the contrasts a bit, maybe give it a bit of clarity. That's one of the sliders that most photo editing tools have these days. And you will bring out those details, and it'll be a really interesting shot.
It's going to be very hard if you expose for the moon to see anything but silhouettes around it. So when you see shots where it's the moon and then you can see the leaves on the trees, that's going to be either at least HDR, probably a composite, right? I mean,
or that person lit the foreground.
Oh, they have a flash.
You might have a flash. You might expose for a longer time and then fire the flash and light the foreground. And there's lots of tricks there.
Photographers are a tricky bunch.
Sneaky people, yeah.
So here's your chance to be tricky. We have an assignment. If you want to play along the home version of our game, you have about 2 or 3 more weeks to take a picture representing the idea, concept, word, fly. Whatever that means to you, fly. Now, here's how it works. You have to join Flickr. That's free. It's a Yahoo site, Yahoo Verizon site now. And it's a long time, one of the best photo sharing sites ever. It's great for putting up images, asking for people to give you critiques and help you be a better photographer. We've got a group there, the Tech Guy group. Easy to find, 12,000 members. You picture me on the front page. Go join that group and upload your images. You can do one a week. Make sure you tag them with the word fly. Renee Silverman, our moderator, will accept them. And in a couple of weeks, I guess September 18th, Chris will review 3 of the best images. Chris Marquardt, he's at discoverthetopfloor.com. We'll see you next week, Chris.
Absolutely.
Leo Laporte, the tech guy. That's not me talking. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number. David is on the Gold Coast of Australia. Hi, David.
Hi, Leo. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Glad you called.
Hey, Leo. Just before I ask my question, I just want to let you know that I'll be heading over to California on Friday, and I pick up my iPhone here on Friday morning. And I'll arrive into Los Angeles about 6:30 in the morning on Friday morning. So theoretically, I should be the first one in California to have an iPhone.
Oh, darn you! By 3 hours or 4 hours. But which one did you order?
I got the matte black 256 iPhone 7 Plus.
That looks like a very nice one. I ordered the jet black, which is the shiny black. Even though I know it'll scratch up.
I'm just worried about the scratches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The way I buy phones is a little different from the way a normal person would. I always get the new color, the new look, because I want to be able to show people and talk about things like, does it scratch? So I'm not buying it so much for myself as a review unit. Same thing with the watch. I already have a stainless steel and a sport Apple Watch. So I ended up buying the much more expensive ceramic one because I'm interested in how that holds up, what it looks like, and all that. I buy these things so you don't have to. But if I were buying it for myself, I'd probably have done the same thing as you and stuck with a safer jet black. It looks very attractive. Which iPhone do you have now?
I've got the iPhone 6, so I do mine every 2 years.
Sensible
upgrade.
Yeah,
so,
that's sensible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Leo, I've just got a quick question. I'm on a 1,000 gigabyte a month plan with my provider, and over the last month we've found that our data usage has gone through the roof. Now I've changed the Wi-Fi passwords. I've gone through and tried to find out where the data's been downloaded from, and we're running all Macs, and we're running 3 airport Extremes around the house. And I just can't find where we seem to be going over that. And that's quite a lot of data as soon as we, might watch a little bit of Netflix and the kids play a few games on the online. And I was wondering whether there was a network tool that I could which I could find out what's using the data.
Yeah, typically you want to put that not on any individual computer because no individual computer has the view of the whole network that you would like. You put it on a router, and this is one drawback to the Apple routers, which is they haven't been updated in a long time, and they don't have many of the features that more modern routers offer, like exactly this bandwidth monitoring. So one way to do this would be replace one of the airport Extremes, or both if you want, with a more modern router that had the capability to monitor bandwidth. I use the Asus. By the way, they're also better routers. Apple has not kept its routers up to date. I use the Asus C3200, and that has built-in a bandwidth monitor. I could show you which computer is using the most. Synology has some excellent software on their routers that'll do the same thing. I wonder, it's conceivable. I mean, there are things like there are apps like Bandwidth Plus that will track each individual Mac's usage. And so that might be enough. You just have to put it on every Mac to give you some information. But really, the real
issue... something like the Telstra TV or...
Well, yeah, but the real issue is going to be is somebody using your Wi-Fi from another system. You wouldn't see that. You'd only see that if on the router. That's the central.
We live right across the road from a very exclusive boarding school, so I'm thinking that if anything, someone.
Oh, the kids. Yeah, see.
The kids.
So that would be. You'd have to use the router to monitor that because you have to use something more upstream than the individual computer to see that.
Right.
So,
okay. Change over the router.
Yeah, or you could continue to use your routers and put something in between your modem and your router that does the same thing. That's another way to do it. You don't have to get all new routers. You continue to use those as Wi-Fi routers and get just you put the airport Extremes in bridge mode so they don't have to do the DHCP, and then use a smaller device like a Ubiquiti edge router to do the monitoring. So there are definitely ways to do that. It's been several years since Apple's updated the Airport Extreme. They haven't made any noise at all about the Airport Extreme. They're moving away from being a computer company, it seems. And while the Airport Extreme, when it came out, was good, it's really the case that after a couple of years, routers wear out. They, and also, I mean, it's an AC router. That's the good news. At least supports the current standard. But it doesn't have a lot of some features I'd like to see, like bandwidth monitoring would be awesome. So.
It's just a very easy system to set up.
Oh no, I know. I use
it starts straight away.
No, and because you're on all Mac network, it's perfect. And to their credit, Apple does update the firmware all the time. They keep it secure. It's very secure. It's more secure than most other routers. In that regard, you're in good shape. A lot of router manufacturers, they make the thing and then that's it. It's orphaned immediately, regardless of the security problems. And there are many, many routers that are full of security flaws. So maybe it is a good idea to keep using your Airport Extreme. You have a password on it, right?
Yes. You
use WPA2?
Yes, I do.
Don't use WEP, W-E-P, because that has been cracked, and those smart kids across the street could figure that one out. They have an advantage because they're there every day, all day. They can. Yes. So, if you're using strong password on WPA2, another thing to do is make sure that the name on your router isn't like the one across the street from the school. Make it a little bit more obscure, although they can see how strong it is. So, yeah, that's an interesting question. Yeah, and it may well be. How old are your kids?
They're young. They're 8 and 10.
Oh, okay. They don't have BitTorrent.
Not real high.
They're not running BitTorrent clients. When they get to 13 and 14, then you start worrying that maybe they're running something in the background. Yeah.
I think I'll be teaching them the new user groups rather than Bitcoin if I had to.
That's good. Security on the Airport Extreme is excellent. I mean, I'm not knocking that. In fact, that's it's a really big selling point. But they haven't made much effort to release new hardware and so forth. I guess you could turn. Somebody's suggesting in the chat room. Dora says, "Why don't you just turn off the router when you leave the house?" That could.
I work from home. That's the only problem. So it's hard to isolate that while I'm trying to work at the same time.
Yeah. I thought WPA2. If you're
I'm over in California.
Yeah, I hope come up the coast a little bit. Stop by and say hi.
Yeah, will do.
We had somebody from Perth in yesterday, so we get visitors from down under all the time. Love it. Nice to talk to you.
You've got to come down here, Leo, and visit us. Thank you.
Yeah, I love the Gold Coast. I was there for the total eclipse. I was in Cairns for the total eclipse some years ago. It's a beautiful country. Yeah. Take care, David. I appreciate it. 8888, ask Leo the number to call. We're going to take a break for news at the top of the hour, and then we will go to Stan. So hang on, Stan, and everybody else. We'll also be taking calls after the show, pre-recording for my vacation. So keep calling. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. It's not easy to crack WPA2. That is non-trivial. And SSID hiding, despite what people say, is completely worthless. If somebody's sophisticated enough to be doing that, to be trying to crack your Wi-Fi, your SSID is broadcast in every packet. All they have to do is sniff the packets, and there's your SSID. So hiding it might work. The thing is, if you've got WPA2 is better than anything else. If you've got WPA2 and they're somehow getting on your network, then they're sophisticated enough to see right through SSID hiding. So no security expert says SSID hiding or MAC address filtering is worth anything. Every single network security expert I know says WPA2, and that's it. MAC address filtering, again, you could spoof a MAC address easily, and the MAC addresses are contained in the packet. So you just wait for a MAC address to go by, and you go, I'll take it. Oh, that one's getting on. I'll use that. And every kid in the school could do that. So. Nobody has 1,000 gigabits a second. Although I would love that. And we have 20 gigabits. Or 10 rather. That's enough. You're faster than anything else on the internet. Yeah, fast.com is so did you see Russell's posts? He crashed Firefox trying to test the speed. I'm on Wi-Fi, so it's not going to really show you. Maybe it will. 900 megabits. Well, there you go. That's gigabit, but that's probably because I must be on a gigabit port. So, but there's no reason to have more than gigabit in any individual computer. The reason we need 10 gigabits is for our editors who are uploading, and we have multiple things going on at once. But believe me, having gigabit on this computer, that's nice, or 900 megabit on this computer, that is plenty fast. Let me see if I'm Wi-Fi. It has to be Ethernet, right? Yeah, the Wi-Fi's turned off. Isn't that nice? I wonder what. The other one I actually prefer, fast.com is from Netflix. The one I prefer, which gives you a lot more information, and I think, frankly, is more reliable because you want to use one that the ISPs, and of course Sonic would never do this, but ISPs don't modify their behavior when they see you using the speed test. Many do. Oops. Allow. Oh. That should be symmetric. I think it should be symmetric. We're using nice, very good routers. I really should do all my downloading and uploading here, shouldn't I? No, I never use speed test. Use the best one I like is at DSL Reports. You see what you get? You get all sorts of information, including buffer bloat information. It really is a good, it's the best. And then there's no flash involved. So there you go. Pretty much gigabit symmetric. Yeah, I never use the speed tests that the ISPs offer you. I'm not insinuating that Sonic would do anything. Dana's abscessed way too much integrity to do that. But other ISPs, Comcast, would note that you are using their speed test and make sure that you had all the throughput you wanted at that moment. Oh, Dr. Mom, that's a good question. I think the Note 7 of the three, the iPhone 7, the Edge, the S7, and the Note 7, I think Note 7 is easily the best. If you would ever use a stylus, and I bet you would, you seem like a stylus type. The nice thing about the Note 7 is it's a bigger screen than the iPhone, and a smaller package. Is very compact. And basically, the Note 7 is the S7. So it's just the S7. A little bit more modern software. It's felt faster to me, and it's a bigger screen. But it doesn't feel big in the hand. I really thought the Note 7 is the phone to go with at this point. Yeah, had they used, that's ironic, isn't it? Had they used removable batteries, they might not have had to do a recall of the phone, just the battery. I just have a really hard time using an iPhone, but that's just me. Lisa loves her iPhone. I just hate the software. I just hate it. Well, hey, how are you today, Leo Laporte, the tech guy? Time to talk computers and the internet, home theater, digital photography, smartphones, exploding phones, smart watches, ceramic watches, virtual reality, headgear, 8888, Ask Leo. But we are going to remove any conversation of headphone ports from this show from now on. Because we have courage. I have courage. And no headphone port discussion. Sorry. That's just so 1980s. I'm being sarcastic. 8888 Ask Leo. 888-827-5536. Stan, thanks for hanging on from Colton. Hi, Stan.
Hey, Leo.
Welcome.
Hey, Leo.
Yes, sir.
I had a question about my wallpaper. Now, I have a desktop and a laptop computer. Whenever I put wallpaper on my desktop computer, it mimics on my laptop computer.
That's a bug. That's a feature, not a bug. That's a Windows 10 feature.
Yeah, okay.
Because, and this all changed. It probably even changed with Windows 8 when you started using your Microsoft login. Your Microsoft account is the login. Now, that account contains all your settings for Windows, right? Including your wallpaper, but everything else as well. And most people see that as a benefit because they have kind of consistency. But it sounds like you want different wallpaper on your laptop.
Yeah, I'm a car guy, and I like different cars on the computers. So.
Now, they do have in Windows 10, they do have the ability to rotate wallpaper slideshows. So some of the wallpaper is static, but you could also have rotating wallpaper. You could, if you wanted, have, and this is what I do, a folder with all the car pictures you love. You know, get all the high resolution pictures of your favorite cars, put them in a folder on both computers, and then have the wallpaper rotate, and they'd be out of sequence. But that means you'd have different wallpaper, you know, every day or every hour, depending on how you set it. You want the laptop to have a Ferrari and the desktop to have a Lotus, that kind of thing?
Exactly.
I'm going to have to ask the chat room if they have any suggestions. How do you keep Windows? I'm sure there's a setting to how to keep Windows from changing your wallpaper. Now, of course, one way to do it, I'm not going to recommend it, is to not use your Windows account as your login, to use a local account. Here we go. Trex is saying you can disable settings sharing. That's what's going on. So let me see if I can find that in the settings Because that, if you disable settings sharing, that's exactly what you'd want, wouldn't it? Wouldn't you? Let's see how we find that in Windows 10. I'm looking on my Surface Book, my Microsoft Surface Book. There were rumors that Microsoft was going to release a new Surface Book this year, and now the latest is maybe they're not. I don't know. Trex, do you have a quick place to go to this setting? And I'm not seeing it in, but that would make a lot of sense. Let's look in the settings, and maybe it's under System. Well, I'm going to have to find this and get back to you. Can you listen for a little bit longer? And I will,
sure.
I will get the answer for you. We'll say it on the air. Now,
okay, great.
Yeah, but I think there's hope, Stan. What car do you have on your desktop?
Well, actually, I'm a Mustang guy, so I have a Mustang on one. Yeah.
I used to have a GT5, a 2010 GT. Loved it. Bright red. Never got a ticket. At least that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I love Mustangs. Beautiful, beautiful cars. You like the classic, I bet, though, right? The old ones.
Yeah, I like the old ones, but I like the newer ones too. The GT500R, I really like.
They are nice. They are really nice. Ford knows how to make big iron. Let me see. It's in. Here it is. It's under Settings, in the Accounts. When you go to Accounts in your Settings dialog, at the very bottom, Sync Your Settings, and you can choose individual sync settings. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like they have desktop wallpaper as an individual setting, but they do have theme. So I would choose theme because the wallpaper is part of a theme. And then you can have a different theme on your desktop and a different theme on your laptop. And the other settings, including Internet Explorer favorites and passwords and language preferences, all those other settings would continue to sync to your Windows account, which I think is what you want.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So thank you to Trex for pointing me in the right direction. You go to, actually all you have to do is hit Windows key I to get the settings, tap the Accounts, and under Accounts at the very bottom, sync your settings. You can turn off theme, and I think that'll fix it for you.
Okay, great, Leo. I appreciate it.
Hey, thanks. What's your favorite Mustang color?
I would say blue.
Blue. Yeah, you get fewer tickets with blue.
Oh, yeah. Doesn't stand out.
Arrest Me Red is my color. All right, Stan, thanks for the call. I appreciate it. And thanks to the chat room. This is why the chat room is so useful. It's really great. Thank you, Trex. If you want to be in our chat room, irc.twit.tv in your browser. You can get right in there. Ellen in Santa Monica. Hi, Ellen.
Hi there, Leo. How are you?
I'm well. Thanks for hanging on.
Oh, thank you. It's the first time I've called.
Well, welcome.
I listen to you a lot.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I have a question. I feel like I got ripped off by Microsoft.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I turned on my computer yesterday with going into my email, and then I got this very scary message with a very scary voice telling me I had a virus, not to turn off my machine.
Oh.
I'll lose everything, so, I'm not computer savvy. So
Yeah, by the way, that's really not, scared. That's not Microsoft. That's malware doing that. That's a bad guy. That's not Microsoft. They never do that.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I ended up paying $250 for support for 2 years. I mean, what do you do if you get a message like that?
Well, from now on, you ignore it. So that's malware. Now, if the message popped up while you were using the browser, it's likely just a browser pop-up. And it's completely possible that that's all that was, in which case you can safely close that window and move on with your life. Microsoft will never do that. Now, here's the risk. It could be, best case scenario, you're out $279.
Right.
Worst case scenario, they now have your credit card. Let me ask you, did they ask for and get remote access to your computer?
Yes.
Okay, that's the worst. Because now, if you give somebody access to your computer, whether they're sitting in front of it or remotely over the internet, They can do anything they want to your computer, including
wonderful.
put more malware on it. So you were suckered, but not by Microsoft, I'm sorry to say, but by bad guys.
Okay.
So here's what you do. You call the credit card company, you reverse that charge, and you change your credit card number. You say that yeah. That's
okay.
Yeah, the credit card company should reverse that. You say that I was suckered here. And then get your money back, but then also tell them I want a new credit card because they have my number now. I don't want to see any more charges from this company. Because they may not be a legitimate company. They're probably in India.
That's right. The voice was.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's one.
You know
That's
right
step.
away.
Oh yeah. This is a very common scam. Step two is, and I hate to do this to you, but you need now to erase your hard drive and start over. You need to download or get your Windows disks and completely reinstall Windows on there. Back up your data first. You don't want to lose your data. Your data's probably almost certainly safe, but we don't know what they did to your computer. The only way to make sure you fix that is to wipe it and start over. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Yeah, and let's hope that... I think most of the time they're just satisfied with it $300. And they just... but that's the other thing you might want to consider is changing all your passwords. Actually, thank you for that link. Let's put that link in the show notes from the FTC. Getting your money back after a tech support scam. Right there. You dispute the charge. By the way, you're doing a good thing when you dispute that charge because you're putting that credit card company on notice that one of their customers, that merchant, is misusing them. And they will cut off that merchant. So you're doing a good thing for everybody else if you go there and dispute that credit card charge with your credit card company. You probably get your money back. I can't guarantee it, but chances are good because it's a scam. Our show today brought to you by Gazelle. This is, of course, Gazelle's magic time. The magic hour has arrived. Gazelle's the place people go to sell their used gadgets. So much better than throwing it in a drawer. You know, if you open a drawer, do you have a drawer in your house that's filled with old phones and tablets? And go to Gazelle and sell those. Get some money. You wouldn't throw $100 bills in a drawer and leave them there. Get some money. One of the nice things about Gazelle, if you're going to sell, is they'll give you 30 days. So they guarantee, go there and enter your iPhone 6 that you're going to sell and get a guaranteed locked-in quote for 30 days. They promise they will pay at least that. And you have 30 days to get the new phone. Might take you that long. They're back ordered. Transfer your data over. Make sure you like the new phone. It's working. And then you press the submit button. Gazelle will send you a box prepaid. In fact, while you're doing it, get everything. Get all the gadgets. When the box comes, you load them in. Gazelle turns it around fast. If you forget to wipe your data, of course, always you want to wipe your data. But if you forget, don't worry. The Gazelle folks are great. They'll wipe it for you. Sometimes they'll even call you. I've had this happen twice now. And say, the phone you sent us is worth more, so we're going to add another $40 to your check. And you can get a check, you can get a PayPal credit if you're in a hurry, and you can also get, and I love this because I buy a lot of stuff on Amazon, an Amazon gift card, and they bump those up 5%. So you get a little extra something. That's Gazelle to sell, but you can also buy at Gazelle. Gazelle sells certified pre-owned iPhones, including the iPhone 6S, 6S Plus. They're going to have lots of those, right? Because lots of people selling at Gazelle. iPads, Samsung Galaxy phones, and they work with all the major U.S. carriers, AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, and Sprint, but there are no contracts. You don't, no 2-year thing. You can even get financing if you want at checkout. They'll check a box, and you can get financing on all devices from a firm. They also have 12-month warranties for cell phones and iPads from Assurance Solutions. That covers more than just flaws. It covers water damage, cracked screens. So it's a really great place to sell or to buy. I just want you to remember that name, Gazelle. And if you've been putting this off, today be a great day to go through that gadget drawer, sell some stuff on Gazelle, get some money so you can get that next gadget, the new phone or whatever it is. Gazelle. Give new life to used electronics. Trade in for cash or buy certified pre-owned. You can do both at Gazelle.com today. And we thank them so much for their support. It makes the Tech Guy podcast possible. Thank you, Gazelle. Oh, yes, we'll still be here. Florida Man, that would be very welcome. We are leaving a week from tomorrow, I believe from tonight. Sunday night right after TWIT, next week's TWIT, we're leaving. Flying out at 9 p.m. from SFO. So, yeah, don't FedEx them. You can mail them. Or you can email them, leo@leoville.com. So we were all booked up, though. We got all the excursions booked. We got the fancy restaurants. You can book two seatings, so we booked those. Our first seating's our first night. It's at the steakhouse at Prime, I think. And then the other one is like our last night, or second to last night. And then I didn't know this, but I guess you can book your spa stuff ahead of time. Apparently everybody had. But we called the spa and we were able to book some stuff. So I know if everybody bought Chromebooks, I could go home. I could retire. Should I, Keith? I have the new Samsung, but then I'd have to bring a Galaxy with S7 with me. I'm trying to decide. I might just bring the Theta. I really like the Theta. They lecture you that you shouldn't bring food with you. Why would you bring your own food onto a cruise, though? I don't need to bring food with me. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy, 8888. Ask Leo. Let's go to Albuquerque, New Mexico, and Bob. He's next. Hi, Bob.
Hey, Bob. This is Bob.
Hey, Bob. Hey, Bob. Bob. This is Leo. What can I do for you, sir?
Just wondered if you had an opinion on the new HP Elite X3 phone.
I do. I think it's really interesting. Now, remember, it's a Windows phone.
Right.
And it's being sold through enterprise mostly. It's not the kind of thing that you would go to your AT&T store and pick up, I think. I think it's business customers.
Microsoft Store is selling it starting on the 26th.
So first of all, it's a big phone. You should check it out because it's 6 inches. It's a big phone.
Right.
But it's supposed to be, in a way, it's supposed to be your computer too. Remember, you're not going to just buy the phone. It uses Microsoft's Continuum technology. So you're going to buy a dock, or more likely, you'll get the little phony laptop that they sell. It has no brains in it. You connect the phone to it, and then you have a keyboard and a screen. And this is the whole intent of this interesting phone. It's running Windows Phone software. And it allows you to basically instead of taking a laptop, take this relatively lightweight device with you, and you get to the office, the home office, you open up that little extender, you plug it in, and now you're computing. It doesn't, you understand, run the full version of Windows programs, though. It only runs...
It's an RT, isn't it?
It's basically like RT. It isn't an RT. It's not. They don't do that anymore, but it's the same idea. It will only run Windows Store applications. So it's basically like a phone. But the Windows Store applications, they call them UWP, Universal Windows Platform, are fairly capable. It's not Office 365. It's a stripped-down version of Word and PowerPoint and Excel. But the theory is it's doable. It's kind of like Microsoft's Chromebook, actually, because it's a simplified version. I think Windows Phone, the Windows Phone operating system, is great. The reason it hasn't succeeded in the marketplace is they came out 2 years too late. And everybody who was making apps made them for Android and iPhone and just skipped Windows. And so the app ecosystem was very weak and never really caught on. And so for that reason, I don't recommend Windows Phone. A lot of banks, for instance, don't offer their software. So if you do home banking, it's not ideal. But for an office, and this is why I think Microsoft's really targeting businesses with this, I think it's a very interesting phone. It's beautiful, too, by the way, even though it's giant.
Well, and it's got a lot of capabilities.
Oh, yeah.
It's like dual SIM. It's 4 gigabyte of
And that's a lot for Windows Phone. Windows Phone is pretty lightweight on the RAM, and the fact that it has 4 gigs of RAM means they're intending this to be a computer as much as a phone.
Right, and then they have 60 gigabytes of internal storage.
Yeah, that's not much.
And then it goes up to 2 terabytes of
SD card.
storage.
Yeah.
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 Yeah,
16 isn't much, but that's enough for Windows Phone, but you're going to definitely need an SD card to do anything serious with that.
Right. Right.
I think it's interesting. You'd be participating in an experiment, Bob, because this is the first phone of its type. It is widely thought that Microsoft is watching this very carefully, and if it does well for HP, will do their own version. They'll do a Surface phone that will have similar capabilities. I mean, this Continuum feature is something Microsoft put into Windows Phone for precisely this reason.
Is it something that you'll test?
No. But I can tell you who will. We do a podcast called Windows Weekly, and our hosts on that show, Paul Thurrott and Mary Jo Foley, one of them will certainly test it out. I am not a huge, I do not cover enterprise business stuff. I'm just not that interested in it. I really stick with consumer stuff. So I'm not, this is really kind of a little outside my, and I mean, I could test it, but I have to draw the line somewhere. I'm buying way too many phones as it is. I can't keep up. It seems like there's a new phone every week. So no, and I won't be trying it. I did get a Windows phone. I got a very nice Nokia 1520 and still have it and use it to keep up with Windows Phone. But I don't. This is not for me. This is for business users.
Now I understand that Microsoft bought Nokia and then they dumped the Nokia phone.
That's right. So Microsoft bought it. The Nokia Lumia brand died. Microsoft made a couple of Lumia phones, but they're essentially the same. They took a big write-off, a multi-billion-dollar write-off on this loss. In other words, they fired many of the employees. The current CEO of Microsoft never really wanted them to do this. This was a Steve Ballmer move, and when Satya Nadella became CEO 3 years ago, I think it's 3 years now, there wasn't a lot of love lost on this acquisition, and it kind of withered on the vine. The real question is whether Microsoft will continue to make phones. They already have recognized that it's a failed business for them. They have a very small market share. Android and iOS completely dominate. But there may be a niche here with this HP Elite, the idea being, well, maybe for the business user as a cross between a phone and a laptop, maybe we can find a market there. So it's an experiment.
I'm a professional poker player, and I'll use it to log all my information.
Be more than adequate for that. Yeah, be fine for that.
And then I can transfer it when I get back to my office and/or my computer.
So this is a full-time gig for you.
Pretty much.
Wow, that's cool. Do you play in the tournaments and all that?
Yeah.
Or you just look for fish?
No, I play both cash and tournaments.
Nice. Well,
but I play at least 2 local tournaments a week in Albuquerque.
That's great.
Just to stay in shape, and then I try to play as many majors as I can.
Fantastic. I'll look for you on TV.
Okay.
Hey, yeah, if you want to experiment with it and let me know, I would be glad to put you on and you can give us your review.
Sure, I'll take a look at it.
All right, let us know.
All right, thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, I hate to be fodder for an experiment, and that's the problem with this. Is it could be a complete dead end when you're getting the first in this kind of new category. More often than not, it doesn't go anywhere. And HP in 2 years will stop doing anything, and now you've got a piece of hardware that's just done. It's cooked. It's always safer to go with the mainstream. Maybe less fun, and you are a poker player, so maybe risk doesn't scare you. And it could be a high reward because if it becomes a new platform, even then though, let's say it takes off, it's the greatest thing. Well, then Microsoft will do something a little bit better in 6 months. HP will do something a little better in a year. And you'll be your sole claim to fame is that you bought one before anybody else did. So in general, it's not, the person leading the pack is the one with all the arrows in his back. Or actually, no, that's the guy running away slowest. But anyway, you get the idea. 8888 Ask Leo. Our website, techguylabs.com, has every show, audio and video, every question, every answer, and your comments. And I welcome those. So if you've used this HP phone, go on in there and make a comment. Hour 3, question 3, or whatever it was, and we'd welcome that. No fee, no sign up. techguylabs.com. That's weird, Cocky. Now, we're leaving from Stockholm. So they're going to say, don't bring any herring on the boat. I've never heard anybody say that. It is true that you generally are told not to bring food off the boat. And I've brought fruit, and they confiscate it as you're coming ashore because they don't want fruit from other countries in the Bahamas or whatever. But I don't think I'll bring snacks. When you're getting on a cruise ship, usually there's plenty to eat. Not been my experience that anybody starves on a cruise ship. So should I? All right. So maybe, okay. If there's demand, I'll bring the Gear 360, and I'll have to bring a Galaxy S7 to drive it. Oh, I see what you're saying. They say don't bring snacks with you. We're getting off in England. Yeah, that's often the case, that if you're going through customs, immigration control, they will not let you bring any foodstuffs in. Oh, dear. That's interesting. The way these riverboats work, it's kind of interesting, at least the one we were on, and I think probably the same as the Viking. The boats are limited in the size because they can only be... They're all exactly the same width, whatever it was, 45.6 meters, because that's the widest that can get through a canal. And riverboats, they go through canals, hundreds of them. But the bridges are also very low. They want to make the boats as high as possible, put more rooms on them. So on our boat, the bridge where the captain is and railings automatically would sink into the boat when they go under a bridge. In fact, I have pictures. And obviously, they neglected to do that because they've been under that boat. Yeah, it's on the Main Canal. They've been under that bridge 100 times, of course. They didn't lower the wheelhouse. Yeah. Ooh, that's not good. You can see it has actually a hole that it can go into. Wow. Somebody screwed up. That's terrible. See, so the deck itself is low enough to go into the bridge, but they take down all these railings and the wheelhouse goes down. All this stuff can be lowered so that basically it's a flat profile going under the bridge. I actually have pictures. Let's see if I can find them of exactly this from last year. Thank you, Florida man. Did you enjoy it? Any tips? Always welcome. I've never been on a Regent before, so any tips would be more than welcome. See, when did we go on that? That was in July, wasn't it? Yeah. It's kind of, I couldn't figure out at first because they don't let you on the, once you go in an area where they're going to be going on a lot of bridges, they don't even allow you on the deck. They just shut off the deck. But there was one time when we were allowed on the deck. I kind of made friends with the first officer. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888. Ask Leo. That's the phone number. And Diane is on the line from Warren, Ohio. Hi, Diane.
Hi.
Hey.
I got a question about Windows 10.
You and everybody else, Diane, join the club.
Yeah, I hope I can explain this. I had the automatic update come through, and I'm not sure, but I think maybe a couple things are a little quirky, and I was told, well, just do the update again, and sometimes that'll just fix everything. My question is,
I was told there's an ISO file that you can just put to a CD. Is that something I can just do and do at any time? Because I know the update, you can't get it for free anymore.
Now, here's what happens. So you got the update, and make sure you're authenticated. I'm sure you are, but you can look and see if you can type. You hit Windows key, type WinVer, WINVER. It'll tell you what version. It'll say if you're authenticated. Once Microsoft registers your computer as a Windows 10 computer legitimately, you're good. They call it an entitlement, and that computer now can run Windows 10. You can even put a new hard drive in, a blank hard drive, install Windows 10 on it, and Microsoft's authentication servers will say, "Oh yeah, you're an old friend, no problem." So you're good in that respect. You can do exactly what you were told. There is a page Microsoft has. You can Google it and find it very quickly. It's called the Media Creation Tool. And I don't recommend a CD. First of all, it'd have to be a DVD because it's pretty big. But best thing to do would be to get a USB thumb drive. You should do this anyway. It's a very handy thing to have a Windows installer disk lying around. Everybody needs one. So get an 8 gig USB thumb drive. Costs you $10, and download the Media Creation Tool. You'll run it. It'll say, okay, where's your thumb drive? And then it'll put a Windows installer on that thumb drive. Then, if you want, you can start fresh. Now, of course, remember, you're going to want to back up your data.
Right.
And anything that you don't have a copy of, you're going to want to make a copy of. You will have to reinstall applications, so you'll want to have all the application installers ready.
Okay, now wait a minute. I thought, now when you put on the update, I went through with the update, you didn't have to do all that. It just updated it for you. This isn't an update again? This isn't that?
This is a different kind of update. And it is the kind of update you do if you've had problems with what you did, which is called an update in place. It installed Windows 10 on top of your Windows 7 or 8 install.
Right.
Sometimes that causes problems because you've got little bits and pieces lying around, right? Or maybe it didn't take or it didn't work. So you could actually run that again if you want. See what happens.
But, is that the ISO file? Or
no, the ISO is used for a clean install where you'll erase the drive and reinstall it. That's the last gasp, but it's frankly something I do pretty regularly on Windows machines because it has the virtue of eliminating any cruft, malware, adware, apps that you don't use anymore and just starting fresh. And it's a very nice, it's like spring cleaning. So I do that regularly, but the key is you have to have good backups of your data.
Right. Okay.
That's going to give you the best. That's going to give you the best chance of having a working computer.
But you'd have to reinstall like your Office and all those programs,
which is a pain. People don't like to do that. So it is only. It's a last gasp.
Okay, that's with the ISO file. Okay,
that's the ISO
how do you
file.
do the update again then? I thought that you couldn't do that.
Oh, you could do that with the ISO file as well, I think. I think so. That's called the repair. What you're going to do is a repair. So you'll run the you don't even have to reboot on this one. You run the installer from the ISO from the USB drive.
Yeah.
And it's going to say, "Oh, you have Windows already on there," and then I think you Option R. I can't remember the exact details, but you'll do a repair. Sometimes that fixes things.
I see. Okay.
But that will fix. What are your symptoms? What's going wrong?
Oh, I don't know. You know what? I knew you were going to ask that, and I just can't tell you offhand. And I was just told, boy, this is kind of quirky. And then somebody said, well, just do the update again. Sometimes that'll clean it up.
It's quirky.
So then I thought, let me just ask you first before I
Depends on how much quirky you can put up with.
Yeah. I just wanted to know about that ISO file, thinking, oh, that's all I need to do then is put this in
what
there.
it is you remember in the old days, if you bought a copy of Windows, it would come on a disk. That's what it is. It's a bootable, in this case, thumb drive. I like thumb drives because they're bigger and they're easier and faster. And you can boot to it. You can run Windows off it. You can run the Windows installer, and you can do a repair if you want as well. There's actually in the Windows settings there are recovery modes you could take a look at as well. And
okay, but that's interesting to me that you're saying that, because then that tells me that I wouldn't need to buy like a Windows.
Never again. This is the exciting news. You will never again buy a copy of Windows.
And it's because of the ISO file?
It's because you have an entitlement. That machine, now it's only for that hardware, but that machine is now entitled to Windows. And by the way, Microsoft says that's it. We're not going to do a Windows 11. This is Windows. We're just going to update this 2 or 3 times a year forever.
So if somebody's PC dies, you could get to somebody else's PC to get this downloaded and put on.
Yeah, but then they'd have to buy it. Well, it depends. If they already had an entitlement, no. But if you went out and bought a new PC with nothing on the hard drive, you'd have to buy Windows 10 for that.
Okay. Oh, yeah, right. I'm saying if it's already entitled.
If it's already entitled, absolutely. The way they do it, though, is and they're not forthcoming on how they do this because they don't want people to get around it. They basically look at what's on your machine and they attach. The way they know it's your machine is by looking at all the different hardware on it. And we know that you can change a few things. Like you can change the hard drive, but if you change the motherboard on a machine, that might it might say, well, that's a different machine.
Oh, okay.
So you can't just take apart the machine and put a new one together and then reinstall it.
Right.
It's the motherboard, the network card, it's the BIOS. It's a variety of things combined. Mm-hmm. And because we don't know exactly how it works, we can't say, well, just do this, but not that. I know you can change the hard drive. That's a fairly common repair people do all the time. You could change RAM, you could change CDs or floppy disks. It's the motherboard and the BIOS and the network card. Those are things that it pays attention to.
Well, that's interesting. So to me, then, what's the point of doing a complete backup, really, of the?
Well, just to save you from having to gather everything all together. I'll tell you what I do. This is a kind of advanced thing, but if you're going to use Windows, guess what? You're now an advanced user. So that's the sad thing or the unfortunate thing, or in some cases the good thing. In order to use the more sophisticated operating systems like Windows and Macintosh, you have to become a more sophisticated user. And one of the things sophisticated users do is they make what's called image copies of their hard drive, so they don't have to go through a full reinstall. So if you do this, here's what I would suggest. You get an imaging program. There are lots of them, some free, some paid. Disk imaging. And what you'll do is after you first install Windows, you make an image. After you install your apps, you make an image. After you restore your data, you make a third image. Now, at any point in time, you can restore those images in under 10 minutes and be exactly there to that point. And so that solves a big problem because you don't have to reinstall apps and all of that. So for future reference, that's a useful thing to do. I recommend that anybody who uses Windows PCs, if you're in the process of reinstalling Windows, make those images. Those snapshots will save you a lot of time. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. So I was showing you the pictures when we went to break. So that's the bridge going over, and normally they kick you off the deck, but they allowed us to stay up there. This guy's so brave. The bridge is coming at you at like 8 miles an hour, and he's walking the other direction, but he didn't get hit. That's out of order. That's going backwards, but that is brave. So we're in a lock, right? Or something. But the wheelhouse, you can see it's lowered slightly, and it just makes it under. He's lowered too. You see he's sunk into the deck a little bit? So they must have just, I don't know what, they weren't paying attention. You kind of have to pay attention on the river. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888 Ask Leo. Back to the phones we go. Sorry, I didn't mean to scare you there. John in Newport Beach, California. You're next. Hi, John.
Hi there, Leo. I'm looking forward to getting my iPhone 7 this Friday, and I'm shopping for cases and screen protectors.
How did you get one Friday? You must have gotten up at midnight.
I did. Yeah, I did.
And did you use the website or the app? How did you get in? Your carrier?
I called Verizon.
Verizon.
Yeah.
So you were able to go to Verizon, and did you get the phone that you wanted?
I did sort of. I did sort of a workaround. I wanted the jet black when I called at midnight, and
they were sold out immediately, weren't they?
Yeah, sold out immediately. So I ordered a silver one that I'm going to get right away, and then I'm going to take that back, and I'm going to get the jet black on October 5th.
I did the same thing. I got a gold one. I didn't want a gold one, but I got a gold one. Now, I have an excuse because I need to have it as quickly as possible so I can review it and talk about it on the show, and I will be able to next week. But I wanted the jet black one, and I won't be able to get that till October 4th. So, I'll either return it or I think I could probably find a worthy cause around the studio to take it off my hands. Yeah, but that was. I mean, I have to think they had very few jet black. Those are the shiny. That's the new color. New color is always in short supply because people want to get the next thing. And I have to think they've had very few of those available because they were sold out. But I got on immediately, and I couldn't get them on September 16th. Anyway, you want to know about case? So here's what I do always, short term. And if anybody who buys a jet black must do this. I go on Amazon, and there's a company called Ringke, Ringke. They make $6 clear plastic cases that go on the back. And so they're cheap. You can get it this week because all the good, the really serious guys that are building real cases, they want to wait till they get an iPhone and make sure they get it exactly right. But Ringke, it's kind of stretchy. They get close enough. And actually I put them on all my phones, and they protect against scratches. They protect against drops. They don't, and no case really, except a case with a cover, will protect against something hitting the screen. I don't generally put screen protectors on because I like to go, I like the feeling of the glass there. But they do make screen protectors now that are glass. They're very thin glass, and the theory being they'll break before the Gorilla Glass behind them breaks. They'll also prevent scratches, or at least take the scratch for the Gorilla Glass. And so if you're the kind of person that does damage phones, then the ones I would recommend are not the thin plastic film. I don't think they'll do much good, and they certainly are aesthetically undesirable. But there are companies that make glass screen protectors. Those should also be available this week because they're pretty easily manufactured. You just need the exact dimensions of the screen itself.
And that was sort of the question that I had, is I've noticed that a lot of the major companies have their cases and screens on pre-order.
Yeah.
And I was just wondering whether
they want to, and I don't blame them. They want to get it right. So they're going to wait till they get one.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, but that's why I get those Ringkes. And I've done this now for many phones after learning my lesson, because my Galaxy S7 I dropped because I was waiting for a case because it was brand new. Nobody had a case yet. And it cracked. So now, ever since, I buy the plastic Ringkes. They're cheap. They always fit nicely, and they actually look good because you see the phone through it.
Yeah.
So it's not as bad as, it's sad that they make these beautiful piano black cases and then tell you, well, but they're going to scratch, so you should really get a case to cover it up.
Yeah.
It's like, what's the point?
Yep. Well, thank you for that. I had one more question, if I could. I have a small business and am looking for a document management solution like Dropbox that allows me to sync down documents on different user computers so they can have the benefit of the documents being up in the cloud that we can all access, but also have the benefit of having the documents downloaded on their hard drive so that if for some reason they don't have internet access, they've still got the documents.
And Dropbox does that very nicely. You sync a folder. The only negative with Dropbox, I used to use it for the radio stations because I send them audio files all the time, is if somebody deletes the file locally, it deletes it for everybody. So we'd have one station that said, I'm done, and delete the file. I don't want it to take up space in my hard drive, and then it deletes it for everybody. Dropbox also, we now know, is not super secure. They just lost 68 million account information for 68 million users and required everybody to change their passwords because of it. So they're not HIPAA compliant, for instance. I like Dropbox. It's very convenient. It's what everybody uses. But there are better solutions for people who need more security. I use ShareFile for that. A lot of attorneys use ShareFile. It's a commercial product from Citrix. They were a sponsor. Disclaimer there. They're not anymore. But that is a very good solution that's HIPAA compliant, has privacy controls, and more importantly, lets you control what happens. You have much more control over the document. That's why attorneys like to use it. They can have the document, for instance, disappear after a period of time, things like that. And then the other thing, if you're capable of running your own server, there are really good solutions like Nextcloud or OwnCloud that you can run on your own server and have complete control. Then it's not even on any third-party server. It's yours.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
But that requires you to run a server.
Okay.
All right?
Perfect.
Thanks for the call. I appreciate it. Yeah. So, if you're going to keep a phone for 2 years, you probably want a better case than just a plastic sheath. And so I ordered the cheap sheath until I, OtterBox or Life, whatever they're called. Life, what is the name of it? Lifestyles. No, that's something else. Until somebody makes an appropriate sleeve to put on my phone, and then I'll get that one if I'm going to keep the phone for any longer. Frankly, the little rubber cases seem to do the job pretty well. They're pretty effective. All right. I don't know. I think we don't have enough time to get this one more caller in, so I think we'll wrap things up. We are not going to do calls after the show. I thought we might, but we won't today. We'll do it next week because I'm going on vacation in 2 weeks. I do want to say farewell, though. I want to take a little time to say farewell to our musical director, Nathan Staten, who is getting promoted. He's moving to the big show. He's going to be doing Coast to Coast. Okay, fine. But we welcome our new musical director, Michael, who's been doing it today, right, Michael? These have been all your picks, I can tell. You have a unique style that I think we're going to enjoy. So thank you, Nathan Staten, for your great work in making this show entertaining. Good luck with Coast to Coast. Watch out for the aliens. Thanks also to Heather Hammond, our phone ranger, who's been here all day answering the phones. Thanks to all of you, too, for joining me. Don't forget, we put everything we talk about on the website, techguylabs.com, so you can go there if you're listening and you have a solution. Maybe you say, I have a great file sharing solution, or I know how you can, get your money back from a credit card. Anything you heard on the show that you think you got a good idea, or Leo was wrong, you don't have to suffer in silence. You don't have to shout at the radio. You merely need to go to techguylabs.com. It's open 24/7. No sign up. I don't want your email address. No fee. But you can go there and leave a comment, a suggestion. And, of course, read all the answers and get all the links if you missed them during the show. TechGuyLabs.com. Thank you all for being here. I hope you have a great Geek Week. Stay away from the exploding phones, and we'll see you next time on The Tech Guy. Bye-bye. Well, that's it for The Tech Guy Show for today. Thank you so much for being here. And don't forget, it's just the tip of the iceberg. We do nearly 30 shows on the Netcast network. It's called TWIT, T-W-I-T. It stands for This Week in Tech, and you'll find it at twit.tv, including the podcasts for this show. We talk about Windows on Windows Weekly, Macintosh on Mac Break Weekly, iPads, iPhones, Apple Watches on iOS Today, security on Security Now. I mean, I can go on and on and on. You even get your daily dose of tech news with Tech News Today. And, of course, the big show every Sunday afternoon, This Week in Tech. You'll find it all at twit.tv. And I'll be back next week with another great Tech Guys show. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you next time.